Hey Vegas, welcome back to Vegas Realty Check, your local Las Vegas real estate news show. I'm Trish Williams.
And I'm Tiana Carroll. Welcome back.
Yes, and we have a news packed show for you today. Lots
Definitely.
of information, lots of things going on here in Vegas. So we're excited to get into that. But before we get started, we're going to open up with our current inventory that we do every week.
Well, I don't get to do it every week. I missed last week, and that was such a bummer. But I did go to the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance event. That's a mouthful, to get all the haps on what's going on in Vegas, which is very exciting. And we'll talk about that after we get through these numbers. So,
okay, good. So our single family inventory, we have 3,374.
We do. And we also have an additional 34 contingent upon sales. I'm going to start including those in the numbers each week because they're like little hidden secrets. You can still make offers on those homes.
So contingent upon sales are in contract, but kind of available if the sale that they're contingent on does not go through.
Right. So the buyer of the property has another property to sell in order to acquire that property. And now in the Valley, we have the ability to make offers on that property and they can be accepted after they give the buyer who is contingent some notice. Hey, listen, do you want to stay in this contract and relieve those contingencies, or can we move forward with this purchase? So that's kind of cool.
Yep, pretty awesome. 419 sold. So our sales numbers are down a little bit, but we mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Usually end of month, those spike more. It seems like most escrows are scheduled. Price reduction.
Price reductions are down. There was 66 of them. That is such a small number.
Yeah, so less people. This is a trend we've been seeing the entire year. Those price reduction numbers keep on dropping. We do have some news. Las Vegas Review Journal and Inman also have both reported this.
Okay.
Nevada price increases over the last decade are the third highest in the nation. Derek Saul, he's the creator of Life in My Finances, says due to limited supply and increased demand, housing prices are set to jump again.
Yay.
Yay. I don't know. Yay. I don't know if that's a yay.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
We still want to be affordable, but our little town is just booming into this giant city. And there's so much growth happening in every sector of our valley that affordability is going to be an issue in the future. So is now a good time for people to buy and invest in a growing city, Trish?
Absolutely. This is the time to buy and invest. And we do. We were talking about this recently as we have so many people that are kind of getting priced out of the market here in Vegas that are going out to Pahrump. The city is doing things to make Pahrump a commute a little more accessible, so that's helping. But it's just what's coming because Vegas is now becoming more than what it used to be as far as just a hospitality industry city. We have so much more things going, which a lot of that.
I'm so going to get into that.
Yeah, we will be getting
I'm going to dig into that, and it's going to be hard because I have like 3 hours worth of information for a limited half hour on this show. So
yeah, okay. News 3 had reported there's a boom in home building that will provide hope for the inventory shortage.
Yes.
So we've been seeing a lot of new construction popping up everywhere. We did have an apartment complex burned down though.
Burned it down to the ground. Okay, so my son was driving home from work and he called me. He's like, "Hey mom, check out this fire," and he sent it to me. And they're putting a new apartment up in the northwest off of the 215 sort of Durango area. And that sucker it's 100% loss. Every building, everything just.
Yeah. So it was actually in Southwest, the building that burnt down.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, what did I say? Northwest?
Yeah.
Sorry. Live in the Northwest, work in the Southwest.
Southwest.
Yes, it was in South. And yes, the Durango South 215.
Yeah, Durango South 215. Building burnt down. I'm sure you all seen the smoke. 650 rental units that will not be on the market anytime soon.
Yeah. And it was blazing good.
It was.
It was crazy.
There was a lot of smoke all across our valley from that.
Yeah.
So Redfin also is reporting on the inventory shortage. We're starting to get some news on that. This is becoming a nationwide issue. I feel like it's hitting us pretty substantially here.
Yeah.
But it is nationwide. We're starting to see inventory shortage.
It is all over the country.
37% of sales in May were over the list price. So back when, we're back to the spot when buyers say, should we offer under? Probably not, when most of the sales, or not most, 37% is not most, but
it's a nice chunk.
Healthy amount of the sales are over list price. And those are those homes that you love.
Turnkey, desirable beauty pageant homes. Those are not the hoarder houses.
Right. Absolutely. RJ had reported that same thing. We're kind of on the same trend. All these topics are headed to the same factor here. RJ reported that people are trapped in their current home due to interest rates. 85% of the homes in the price range of incomes for over $250,000.
Wow.
So that is, the median income in Nevada, average household income is $95.6 thousand per year. So this is nationwide. 85% of the homes that are in a price range for household incomes over $250,000.
All right.
So that's why we're seeing less homes that are available in that affordable entry level rate. But that's nationwide. That's not just here in Vegas.
Yep. That's from NAR, right?
So that one was from Redfin.
Okay.
NAR reported home prices will be up 1.8% this year and 2.8% next year. So people that are waiting for this crash to happen, we were there. It happened. Now let's get back on the ball.
You may have missed it. It was quick.
It was quick. Yeah,
for us,
it
anyway.
was gone. Yeah,
for us.
So it was that the adjustment that was due was what we just went through. So we're not seeing any. There's nothing showing that that's coming up again. That we have anything like that again in the future. Or at least the numbers are not showing it at the moment. Jeff Collins wrote a report in the Orange County Register that cited that. And another interesting thing to note is 28% of the sales in May were cash. Now, this was interesting because as I was going through this, I'm like, cash investors. That's what we all think right away. You think cash.
That's not what I think at this point in our market. I think that people have cashed out from equity in homes that they've had for a decade in California, and now they want to be without a mortgage and live an easier lifestyle. So they're purchasing Vegas.
Not just California, lots of other cities.
Oh,
so there's a large percent of cash buyers that were actually not investors. They were equity cash outs, and they're just purchasing in lower priced cities to alleviate that mortgage. And that's why we're still seeing a lot of demand in the market too, despite interest rates, because they're buying cash. The rates don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to them.
Mortgage apps. Now, mortgage apps, when you're talking about where sales are going to be, it always starts with mortgage applications.
Right. Can we be financed?
Right. So when we see a spike in mortgage applications, that's definitely an indicator that the next few months are going to be
that we're going to have a flood of buyers.
Yeah, that there's going to be people out there shopping. So mortgage apps were up 16.6% in May. They had an 8% increase in April. So those numbers are jumping pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then finally, this is just a little fun comment here, or not fun, I mean helpful. So the RJ recently did an interview with Tyler Jones. He's the CEO of Blue Heron.
Yep.
And Blue Heron, luxury home builder here in the valley, and
they popped up opened up a few communities this year.
They're doing more than I've ever seen in the past of them.
They usually, in my opinion, always had like one or two sprinkled throughout the valley. Now they're like throwing them all over. Hey, have a luxury home. But with everything I'm going to talk about with the economic perspective, that they're bringing in higher paid jobs and skill sets, that is definitely necessary, right? We have to have diversity not only in our community, but in our housing. Yeah. So go ahead.
And they wouldn't be building if there wasn't demand. They're popping up communities everywhere. These communities are selling.
And
there is
lovely.
Demand, and they're lovely. Blue Heron has this lovely style about their homes.
Desert modern.
Yes, desert modern. So he talked about this modern design, changes in the traditional styles. A fun thing is the most uncommon request that they had, because Blue Heron, they're in most of their communities, they will only build, you go into a lot of builders and they're going to build the home and you can upgrade certain things. You could do certain changes, but overall, this is the home that you're getting built. It's their plan. Blue Heron, you can go in there and you can really customize things. So they'll add on things, they'll change things.
Yeah, it's
they'll
like
do
a semi-custom.
Special requests.
You can add a casita in the back.
Absolutely. So some of their more uncommon requests were enormous man caves, which guys love those. Yes. An 18-car garage.
Yeah, big car garages.
And a full in-home spa, and we're not talking like a jacuzzi. We're talking a spa inside the home, which sign me up for that.
I know that the polar plunge, the jacuzzi, the steam room, the massage table. I'm like, okay.
Everything, yes.
I don't need a spare bedroom. No guests at my house. We'll put you up in a hotel. Let me get a spa. Come to my spa when you visit.
And have you ever had a guest where you're like, I wish that, I don't know, some guests might be smelly or something like that. So some homeowner thought of this and they found a solution, and the front entry foyer shower. So when you walk in their home, you are showering. They only want...
That's like a Howie Mandel house. Like, he's like a germaphobe. So he's like, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and clean up before you come any further into my residence?
Clean up. You're not bringing any of that stuff from outside in here.
There's no outside in here.
Yeah, we got this covered.
He wig at my house. Yeah. Like half the year, my windows and doors are open because I love outside.
Yeah, well, they don't. They want that all cleaned up by the time you get in. So there are no dirty, smelly guests in their house.
Well, good job, Blue Heron, taking care of your clients, giving them what they want.
Yes, and then finally, just some tips that he threw on modernizing, because in the Valley we have so many Tuscan homes. That was so popular.
We had a great growth spurt at that time. So
so those are more the traditional homes that we see here. So tips on modernizing those. My favorite sentence ever is just knock down the walls. Get rid of those walls. Knocking down walls can open up a floor plan. It can open up the room. It can make it look like you have more space. And this, I've been seeing this in all of the luxury homes lately. Those old patio slider doors, instead of having those, take out that whole wall and those big sliders that open up the whole room, the wall doors that open up the whole patio. Those are really good for entertaining. And your favorite, lots of live plants.
Lots of live plants. I know, my house is like a jungle. Your backyard's a jungle.
And my backyard's a
jungle. I was
jungle.
over at her house this weekend and she was digging up plants to send home. I went home and potted them up. It's like, yes, I'll take all of them.
It's plentiful.
I plentiful. Love it. You're abundant, girl. You're abundant.
Very much so. So let's get into this perspective. That was all the news that we had for this week, but we have some great things to talk about from the perspective.
Okay, so I love this podcast. I love coming here every week. I hope you guys do too. In fact, if you do, like, share, subscribe, join us each week on this information. So I was really torn if I should go to this perspective and miss Thursday, but you and Mia held it down, got it together. I got to go to this Las Vegas Economic Alliance, or the Global Economic Alliance for Las Vegas, their event called Perspective. Now, this is their 43rd year doing it, so it's nothing new, but this was the largest one they ever had. There was over 850 attendees. For 2.5 hours, they gave us all sorts of information. They had 3 different speakers coming on. One of them was Pilar Harris, and she's the Senior Director, CSR, Sustainability for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So she gave us all the information that's going down on F1. And its sustainability efforts and what they've been working on. Then Tim Leiweke, and he is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Oakview Group. And there was some exciting news that came out of that perspective that made news all over the country because of this interview. So I'm definitely going to touch on it. But as far as the perspective goes, he was only a small part of it because there was so much other information. He is what we're going to talk about most because he did make that national news. And then Jeremy Aguero, and he was the principal at Applied Analysis, and he was all about numbers and growth and moving forward in the Valley. And he had such great perspective on the recession. Like there was one part of his presentation where he slide after slide after slide from 2021 to June 7th of this year about, is the recession coming? Where's the recession? Looks like we're headed for a recession. Are we in the room with the recession? And he's like, listen, the market fluctuates, but we're doing so good and we're so healthy. But what was really great about his presentation was that was on a Thursday morning, and that morning, middle of the night, Wednesday night, he flew back from Northern Nevada because he was in the legislation. And so he talked about everything that was going on in legislation in the Valley and things that are happening. So much stuff. I guess we should begin at the beginning with F-150 because that's sort of a quick synopsis of what was going on. So the whole thing was called Perspective, and they gave us these like little white Wayfarer glasses for everybody to change our perspective or view of Las Vegas. And one of the things, they started out with a slideshow talking about all the sort of misconceptions that people around the globe have about Las Vegas and bringing their business here and helping us with our growth. And one of those things was that we don't have any water.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the reality is the greater Las Vegas has the most secure long-term water plan in the Southwest. And I thought that was great. And, you know, we've talked about water here, that anything that goes down a drain, we can recycle.
Yes.
And the biggest water wasters are outdoor landscaping. So we did an entire show on, you know, that it's only used for non-usable turf has got to be gone, and then all of the water that goes down the drain can be recycled. Our biggest culprits are outdoor use, because it doesn't go down a drain for water, and septic tanks and evaporative coolers. As a matter of fact, we have a moratorium on evaporative coolers, so that number is going to change. And then it talks about our schools. You know, like, oh, Vegas has the worst school systems.
We
and
do have that. We are not known for having great school.
Okay, so we're not known
here.
for. Okay, but wait, you should put these on. And you should change your perspective.
Yeah.
All right, I will put them on and change your perspective. Okay, so that is not entirely true, and they've made efforts to change that. Like, we just got a 25% increase in our school budget.
Okay.
And one of the factors that they grade a school district on is how much money per child is being used, and we were very low. We were like at $10,000 a child, and they raised that up, and so now we're going to be at almost $13,000 a child, and that funding is going to follow them wherever they go. But the whole school district thing is sort of skewed, right? Because our school district has the highest ranking school nationally in our Southeast Career and Technical Academy.
Right.
And our charter schools are off the chart. And one of the things of the legislation that Jeremy was talking about was the fact that now charter schools in the budget are going to have money for transportation. So hopefully we get the right kids to the right school so they can thrive and be their best selves. And that our charter schools outperform everybody on state levels. So it's not.
And the challenge that we have with people that are purchasing homes that are looking for schools is, just the public schools that are in the area that their children are zoned for.
Well, charter's
are not
public.
always. Yeah, it is public, but you have to. There's certain criteria in most cases to get into charter school programs.
Right.
So,
it's like getting into college. You have to qualify.
Right.
Like
So-
getting a loan. You have to qualify.
So the issue tends to be with the public schools that, just a regular family that has their kids zoned for schools, or they have multiple kids. They don't have the means to be sending their kids to different charter schools everywhere. That tends to be where our school system is lacking in the public schools.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, just increasing the budget per child is going to change where we are in that ranking, because that weighs heavily. It's one of the factors, one of the major factors. So I thought that was amazing, and I loved that. I talked about that. And one of the things that this is going to lead into Pilar Harris from the Grand Prix. So one of the things that they were talking about is another misconception that people have about Las Vegas is that we're all excess, right? We're this opulent party place, come do all of this stuff you wouldn't do anywhere else. And we love excess, great food, great shopping, great whatever, right? But we don't prioritize sustainability. And that is so far from the truth. From everything from our water efforts, we're like leading the globe, we're one of the leaders in the globe about water conservation. We're definitely leading the Southwest and the United States in what we do, which is crazy because I think we get like 1.5, 1.6% of Colorado water compared to other states. Like California's got like 23 or 24% of that. And here we are, the smallest state, and we're like, hey, follow us. We know what we're doing. We've set the groundwork. We've really prioritized sustainability, not only in our water, but in other aspects. So that leads me into our first speaker at Perspective. And Pilar Harris, so she actually has a background in like advocacy and things like that, but she has definitely been in international development, and she's such a smart, beautiful woman with this amazing soul, and she's partnering. She got this call to come be a part of Grand Prix, and she's like, hey, do you want to build a racetrack? And she's like, I don't know, where is it at? And after some research, they told her it was in Vegas. She did some research and she's like, sign me up. She was on a plane to the Henderson airport. She came in here, and between the beginning of 2022 and 2023, like 18 months, they're putting together this Grand Prix, which is amazing. And everybody in Perspective, didn't matter which speaker you were talking to, they all said that Clark County and our state government, they are the ones that are able to move fast, to accommodate, to make these big, swift changes happen. When you have that entrepreneurial spirit coming in saying, we want to make changes, where can we do it? Vegas is the place to do it. And we always have sustainability in mind, which is so great. So I'm going to pull my phone up because I have all my little notes on there. But I already talked about the groundbreaking in 18 months. So some of the things in sustainability just in the paddock of the F-150, which if you haven't been, drive by Harmon and Koval, it's a nightmare traffic, but the paddock has gone up and it is amazing. They're not using like cooling towers anymore. They're using mechanical cooling, which is going to help with sustainability. When they tore down the old nightclub that was there, they were able to use that concrete from the demolition in a recyclable way in the paddock. There's energy sub-metering happening. So if there's parts of the building that aren't requiring as much energy, that building is now smart enough to close itself down and stop, or to divert energy to where it is needed. And then another big company that moved here years ago, Switch, and they're like a technology company, and they have solar panels, and they are like footprint free. They have all of their energy coming from their solar panels. So they offered credits for the weekend of the race to the paddock. So they'll be diverting all of those energy credits over. So that's a great sustainable effort as well as including the LED lights that are going to be on the roof. So even when you're flying into Vegas, you're going to know exactly where the paddock is, because it's going to be like Grand Prix F1 right across the top of the roof there. And then they're just trying to work on all sorts of, and anybody who will help them, they're willing to take into consideration on help them on water conservation and stuff. So that was really awesome to me.
Okay.
So yay.
Yep.
All right. So I won't talk too much about that because they went into race day and they talked about, another energy thing I do want to touch on that they have. So F1's not going to be like a sporting event, right? It's going to be like 7 or 8 different events happening around a racetrack, and it's going to be global. It's going to be amazing. But they're going to have all of these generators that have to run these events, and that's not very sustainable. So then they found a way to have like these huge batteries, bigger than I am, and I'm tall, right? So these huge batteries sitting on trailers, and they are collecting power. And so when these batteries are full, they can turn the generators off and use this battery power, and then that's really because they're about getting rid of emissions. That's its attending school. Emissions. Got it. Okay. So they're trying to get rid of emissions not only on the racetrack but with these generators. So now they have these batteries that will charge up. They can turn off the generator, and then when the battery gets down to 20%, then they flip back on. That's awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. And then,
go ahead.
Okay, so
no, that's okay. We have a lot of stuff here, so
I'm just trying to
getting close to the end. So what are the other highlights?
Okay,
big highlights.
Okay, so everybody, and this isn't, this may not be news to a lot of people because now it's a week old and news travels fast.
Yeah.
But Tim Leiweke of Oakview Group, he's also, he was at, AGI, I don't know. He was at the company that helped build T-Mobile. He he built 7 arenas during the pandemic. He's was part of LA Live, and that sort of leads into what he's doing. He's in entitlement right now. His company Oakview is entitlement right now on 66 acres on the south end of the Strip, where they are going to put a live music and entertainment complex, sort of like Seattle Center or LA Live, where it's resorts and arenas, and then you can walk out onto this sort of neighborhood of restaurants, and then there's going to be theater, and it's going to be completely amazing.
That's going to be pretty awesome for the nightlife, for the entertainment.
Yeah. And where it's slated to be is on the south end of the Strip past the Bell's Outlet, where they're going to be putting the bullet train to LA. Okay. So it looks like even the Strip is going to be moving further south.
Of course.
Because once they put that resort there with that entertainment complex, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of train or monorail getting to the main part of the Strip. Yeah. But it just shows another effort in the growth of the city, which is crazy. And Las Vegas is such a live music. Matter of fact, we're #1 in the world for live music. If you take all of the music that happens at Madison Square Garden and crypto.com, Vegas does 4 times as many live music events. So to have yet another space to hold sports, and this is all leading up to, we haven't obviously had any confirmation, and this is all up to Adam Silver if he's going to do an expansion NBA team here. But much like building in Seattle and even building in Vegas, Tim has this mindset of build it and they will come sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So we don't have an NBA basketball team, but if we were going to get an NBA basketball team, they could always go to T-Mobile, but they already have a team there that is pulling that income or whatever. This new venue would be an amazing spot and is built for the purpose of potentially getting that NBA team. I love basketball.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So that was the biggest highlight. That's what you're going to see the most about news. I see you looking at your watch. We're out of time.
No.
Fine. Yeah. Okay, do you want to just touch on the one thing that Pilar did talk about in the F-150 was in sustainability? By 2027, I believe it is, F1 cars are all going to be run off of a sustainable fuel. Because, everybody thinks of race cars racing, right? But in reality, there's a few drivers, but everybody else on the F-150 are scientists. And so they're developing all of these new technologies, and one of them is going to be a sustainable hybrid drop-in ethanol-based fuel, and it's going to be clean burning, and they're sort of going to be the forefront of using this because they need speed and they need sustainability. Okay. And so they're working on this fuel, but they're testing it and working on it in their cars. Eventually, that's going to be mainstream because we're still using those combustible engines. I think by 2050, 50% of the world is still going to be on a combustible engine. Mm-hmm. So if they're developing a sustainable fuel, that's incredible.
Yeah. No, that is incredible.
So, all right. I got all excited. I loved it. There's so much more. Hey, if you guys want me to talk about it more, drop it in the comments. Send us an email. Let us know, and I'll give you more information from this. So excited.
So Tiana attended the event. She has a lot of details from the perspective.
I do.
Tiana, if anybody wants to reach out to you to talk more about it, how do they reach you?
You give me a call, shoot me a text, 702-379-9948. And all of this ties back to real estate because it's all about our community.
It's all about our community.
That's what real estate is. Mm-hmm. This is going to bring so many jobs, so many opportunities, growth. People are going to need a place to stay, so they're going to have to buy. How can they get a hold of you?
Yes. So if you need to reach me, my phone number is 702-308-2878. I'm Trish Williams. Happy to talk to you about anything going on here in the Valley and your home buying and selling needs.
Yep. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're here every Thursday, and make sure and come back and see us.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, you guys have a great week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.